Hello, I'm Laura Marshall.
And I'm Melinda Rose, and this is Light Matters for May 16th, 2012.
On this week's show, a silicone implant aims to restore sight, a sugar cube-sized spectrometer inspects food, I bring you news from the Vision Show in Boston, and Holography reveals an ancient mummy in exquisite detail.
A retinal prosthesis developed at Stanford University converts light into electric current and, via a pair of goggles, flows it into a tiny chip implanted in a retina. It is hoped that the silicon-based technology, similar to that found in solar cells, could restore at least partial sight to those suffering from degenerative eye diseases. The goggles are equipped with a camera and a pocket computer that feed image data to a liquid crystal microdisplay. The image is then beamed to the implant using near-infrared laser pulses, where it is received by a tiny photodetector silicon chip. The chip converts the light into electric current and then stimulates the optic nerves. The effectiveness of the chip was tested by implanting them in blind and sighted rats. The retinal cells of the normal rats were responsive to stimulation by normal visible light as well as the near-infrared, which showed that the implants were responding to non-visible light. In the blind rats, normal light generated very little cell response, whereas the near-infrared light caused spikes in the rats' neural activity similar to that of the normal rats. However, the blind rats needed much more infrared light to achieve the same activity levels as the sighted rats. The work was published in Nature Photonics, and the team is seeking a sponsor to support human trials.
An inexpensive spectrometer much smaller than a sugar cube could soon help shoppers decide whether fruits, meats, and cheeses are suitable for purchase. The novel device, developed at Fraunhofer Institute for Photonic Microsystems, can be installed into smartphones and used in grocery stores to determine the ripeness of a piece of fruit or the tenderness of a slab of meat. The application is based on a near-infrared spectrometer that measures the amount of water, sugar, starch, fat, and protein present in products by looking several centimeters below the outer surface of the foodstuffs. For instance, it can detect whether the core of an apple is already rotting. To work the device, activate the app on your smartphone near the product in question, and voila, it will tell you if that piece of fruit you're eyeing is juicy enough. The Fraunhofer spectrometer is substantially more compact than its commercially available counterparts, which are about 350 times larger. The new devices also are inexpensive to make and suitable for mass production. The scientists are working on a corresponding infrastructure for the device, and they say it could be ready for market launch within the next 3 to 5 years. A prototype will be on display May 22nd to 24th at the Sensor and Test 2012 in Nuremberg, Germany.
Well, speaking of food...
Yeah, when am I not speaking of food? The June issue of Photonics Spectra goes to the printer very soon, and we'll have a couple of articles looking at photonics in food production, one on sensors for food processing and one on lighting systems for crop growing.
That sounds like one to savor, eh?
Yeah, thanks. And because we were getting the June issue ready for press, I could only afford to take one day out of the office last week to attend the Vision Show in Boston, so I drove over there to see the keynote lecture and walk the show floor. Leo Baldwin of Functional Photonics gave the keynote, which was on the future of cameras in consumer electronics. Baldwin said that the pixel race has reached an optical limit, if not a semiconductor technology limit, and he said sensor manufacturers are going to have to offer more than just pixels, things like higher sensitivity, more dynamic range, and electronic shuttering like CCDs. His talk was so illuminating that apparently we didn't even need lighting. The power went out halfway through, and we were on a below-ground level, so there was no light. He just kept talking, and people held up smartphones and tablets as spotlights so we could all see at least a little bit. The power outage wasn't fixed when the talk was over, but that didn't stop people on the show floor. Everybody just kept talking and meeting by the glow of the emergency lights. Under various levels of lighting, I got to meet with companies from National Instruments to Zimia to Teledyne DALSA, and there was a lot of innovative vision technology on display. One of NI's demos was a vision-controlled robot. They said it was programmed to detect and follow that specific shade of tennis ball green, and it actually does so pretty smoothly. Teledyne DALSA had a demo set up with their Falcon 2 and Genie TS cameras. Even with the rapid motion in the bubble column, the cameras can capture dramatic images of the individual elements within. One fun demo was set up at the Scythe Systems booth. They had Guitar Hero set up so attendees could battle the vision-driven computer system.
Sounds like you had a fun and productive day.
It really was. I'm glad I made it to Boston.
Finally today, 3D holographic imagery is being used to reveal details of an Egyptian mummy unseen for more than 2,000 years. Thanks to a 3D hologram imaging process developed by Edinburgh-based Holoxica, the Rhine mummy has been revealed in true 3D. Originally excavated from a tomb in Thebes almost 155 years ago, the mummy is completely intact in its original black-tarred linen wrapping. Until recently, no one knew what was contained inside the shroud, but a series of CT scans by the University of Edinburgh's Clinical Research Imaging Center revealed the mummy was an Egyptian female in her mid to late 20s, 5 foot 2 inches tall, and died around 10 BC. She holds a papyrus roll in her right hand, the so-called Book of Breathing, with instructions to help her on the journey into the afterlife. The team believed they could retrieve even more intricate detail and called Holography to make a 3D hologram. They revealed that the mummy's outer wrapping is encrusted with jewels and gold amulets. Also, a scarab-shaped metal cap was placed on top of her skull during mummification and can be seen in great detail. The hologram will be featured in MIT's Holography exhibition from June 2012 through September 2013.
Well, that's it for this edition of Light Matters, the industry's only weekly newscast. We'd like to hear from you. Tell us what you like or don't like about our program. We welcome comments and suggestions at lightmatters@photonics.com.
You'll find links to share and subscribe to Light Matters by clicking the Share with Friends button on our video player.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
What we're doing actually is we are imaging light, and the ability to image different intensities of light, different wavelengths of light, as well as light occurring at different speeds, allows the customers who use our cameras, who tend to be scientists, for example, to actually study various phenomena, various mechanical properties, motions. It's being used extensively for live cell imaging, using some of the new techniques such as super resolution microscopy. We are also doing other types of fluorescence imaging, and it's also a great product to replace EMCCDs, for example, in single molecule imaging.